Hello, navigators. I'm Nate Fuller. This is a good friend of mine named Dylan Clemens, and we're going into this segment about trusting God. I was just going to ask Dylan what it was like in his life before he decided to trust in Jesus. So how about that, Dylan?
Before I trusted in Jesus, I was a workaholic by every definition, and I found my value was based in my success, and I trusted in my resume. I wanted to go into medical school, and I had the motto, it was medical school or die. It was that intense.
So what was med school to you then, if it was medical school or death?
Medical school was my purpose. It was my God. It's what I worshiped every day.
Wow. So what did it look like for you to come to trust in Jesus?
Yeah, so I came to trust in Jesus through the Navigators my freshman year. You met with me every week for 3.5 years, hours on end, to really investigate who Jesus was, what it looked like to build a life on that, and you modeled so well, trusting in Jesus, that I couldn't resist doing it for myself.
So now in this season of your life, what has it been like to trust in Jesus, maybe have some of your trust challenged, and how has he shown himself faithful in the midst of some of those challenges?
Good question. So I ended up getting into medical school. When I got in, at the time I had a girlfriend, I had med school, I'm like, I made it, so the purpose is being fulfilled. But then medical school started falling apart. My academics started struggling, and I ended up getting kicked out of medical school. The next day, my girlfriend was like, I was gonna be a doctor's wife. I'm gonna be leaving you. And she ended up leaving me. And so for a second, that workaholic came back, and I saw everything that I thought I built my value on being taken away from me. But in the middle of that, I really dug into my trust in Jesus, and I saw him be so faithful. He introduced me another career opportunity from a similar ministry option where I'll be going into medical sales. And that was a challenge for me to shift that identity and truly trust in Jesus as that next career. But more so than anything, he was so faithful in delivering a personal ministry and the opportunity to minister that was not there in medical school.
Yeah, so tell us about that. What does your personal ministry look like today?
Yeah, so while I was going through this tribulations, a lot of medical students have that mentality that I did before Jesus, and like, what's different about you? So I was able to share the gospel and who is Jesus and what it was like to build my life on him. And then when they saw everything fall apart, they're like, wow, you're still whole. Wow, what's going on? And after that, I have 3 amazing disciples right now. We just investigate what does it look like to build life on Jesus. One had never read a single verse before me, didn't even know what a verse was. The other one, her value was in male affection and what attention she could get from a man, not Jesus. And she's completely lost that and has given that up for Jesus now. It's amazing to see her life change. And finally, the third one is a good Christian man, but his mom's dying to terminal cancer. He feels like he's losing it all too because he's a very strong family man. And we're able to talk about that, of how God meets you in that tribulation. So God has shown himself faithful by taking away those idols in my life and reintroducing a good ministry behind it and what life really is about.
So what would you say you are trusting God for in your personal ministry today?
Today, I'm trusting that when I'm gone into my next phase of life in medical sales, that my people still continue to grow and that he meets them and just reveals himself so hard to them and just see how faithful God is and how worthy he is of our trust.
You know, what I would say I'm trusting the Lord for with you is that he will reproduce some of these same opportunities in people's lives in your next educational experience, in your next professional experience. I'm praying for those things with you too, but it's been so fun to see God transform your heart, transform what gives you life, replacing that with himself, and just to see God use your story to influence others. You're trying to help them do the same.
Yeah.
That's actually really amazing.
I am truly blessed for all his tribulations. He's been insanely faithful in every step of it.